In this section, I'm going to introduce two new concepts, row context and filter context. Let's start with the row context. Row context can be obtained by iterating a table within a iterator function in DAX. Basically, like when you create a calculated column, it is calculated by each row by row, right? So row context is applied by default in the calculated column. The similar behavior you can simulate it using the iterator function called sumx, averagex, minx. So that is what a row context is all about. Let's try to check it out in action in Power BI, then you will understand it better. So I'm in Power BI now. So transaction, in this transaction table, if you remember, we have created this column called new item amount, which is nothing but item quantity into item amount, right? So the quantity is 2 and your item amount is 1100, and once you multiply quantity into item amount, you will get the actual amount, that is total sales amount or new item amount. Now what is happening is, like, you didn't define which row it has to process. It is similar to your Excel formula, column 1 multiplied by column 2, then you drag and drop all the formula. Whereas in Excel you drag the formula till the end of your data, right? Here you are defining just 2 columns, but each row will automatically calculate the calculations applied. So this is what a row context is all about. Each row, it can be calculated. So this is about row context. Let's try to check it out, this data now. Let me introduce a page, new page, and put it in a table, and you have your new calculated new item amount. I just want to view it by category. So this is what I get it right now. Now the total amount is splitted by category name because the column exists, new data exists. The data in the new item amount is split, right? This is the filter context. We'll come to that later. Now what I'm trying to convey here is, this is the calculated column, the data exists, that's why it's appearing here. How about simulating this row context in a measure, right? Let's try to create a new measure here. I will name it as new net amount, that is item amount. I will call it as net amount. Now what happens is sumx of, so this is the iterator, meaning like you can do this row by row operation using the iterator. So when I use the transaction, this is the syntax, and then quantity, transaction and quantity, and then multiplied by, you press shift enter, okay, so that it will come in the next line, so it will look properly, and item amount. So what this code mean to me here is, like, it will do the row by row operations in this table for these 2 columns. You can refer a column in an iterator only. If let me take this data, Control X. Now when I press item amount here, right, I mean to say, let me remove these 2 syntax here. So Power BI, you cannot able to refer a column in a measure, right? So this measure definition is, let's put enter here. What it says right now is, a single value for a column item quantity in a transaction cannot be determined, because as we said before, measure always requires a single value to be written. Now it doesn't know for which row it is computing or what data it should process, right? So that is why you are introducing this iterator here. So in this iterator, what we are saying, you do the sum of the entire table, whatever table you have here, and then do the row by row operation, compute this and give me one value. Now when you press enter, okay, now this is the new measure. You see the symbol here. I will use in this table. This also gives me the same result. So this is from the calculated column and this is from my calculated measure. So both gives me the same data. So this is what a row context is all about. Let's try to talk about the filter context. What do you mean by filter context is like, filter context is a set of filters applied to your data model before DAX expression is evaluated. So basically now let's take the same example here, new item amount, right? Now what happening here is the accessories is applied, right? For each category over here, the filter context is applied. Filter context in the sense, for this example, new net amount, let's get rid of this new amount. I'm talking about the measure new net amount. The accessories is applied to this transaction table, then this row by row operation is applied here, then you will get this result. So filter context is always applied before this measure is calculated. That is what it is. And also it depends upon different filters applied. Let's say I am using the gender filter, right, in a slicer here. Let's add the slicer. I am applying filter. So this particular cell giving me accessories for female, casual wear for female. Even when you have a matrix visual, and let me have that in the columns, and I will remove this from here, right? Now each cell having a different filter context. Let's take about this one, like this is the filter context. The filter context for this cell is male and then formal, and it is applied to this measure, right? Where is that measure? Let me take this one. So before doing this iteration, this transaction table was filtered with male as well as the formal. Because of this only, I told you the male and female, this gender is not in the transaction table, which is in your customer. That customer filter is propagated to the transactions and then the filter is applied. That is why in the modeling tab I told this relationship is very important. It will be the fundamentals for your model to work properly. I hope you understand about the row context and filter context. Row context is iterate the table row by row. Filter context is the set of filters applied out before your calculation does. So now this is not only for the summax or some functions what we used. Basically, let's take a look at the another simple function that we have created before, that is total sales. So for this also the same thing is happening. Let's get rid of this new net amount for time being. Now this total sales is calculated and these filters are applied, right? The sum of transaction sale amount. Before calculating this sum of sales amount, apply these two filters. Let's take this particular cell for formal, female. The table is filtered before calculating this sum. So filter context is set of filters applied outside within the visual, also outside, whatever it's a slicer or filter, whatever you apply from the different dimension, it will be applied and then be calculated. I hope you understand the purpose of the row context and filter context here. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button and comment below for queries. Do remember that data is your asset.